Hey, everyone, in this video, I want to talk about why narcissistic people may not show kindness to those who are sick. Let's break it down. This situation can be really tough, especially if you're close to a narcissistic person and you happen to be the one who's not feeling well. This video is inspired by the experiences of people who were in long-term relationships with narcissistic individuals, particularly romantic partners. In these relationships, they often faced invalidation, abuse, and gaslighting. Despite the difficulties, there was a lingering hope that in times of real need, such as when someone gets sick, the narcissistic person might reveal a more caring side. The expectation is that they would act like a decent human being, showing concern by checking in, allowing the sick person to rest, bringing soup, accompanying them to the doctor, and providing support after medical appointments. In essence, it's about hoping that, despite their everyday behavior, the narcissistic person would exhibit basic human decency in times of vulnerability. People tend to believe in this possibility. When a narcissistic person is sick, it brings out something I call the narcissistic brain struggle. Unlike psychopathic individuals, narcissistic people know what the right thing to do is. They understand they should care for someone who's sick, step up, and offer support. However, they struggle because they don't really want to do it. They want to appear good to others, but caring for a sick person involves more than a simple gesture, like paying for a group dinner. Paying for dinner might make them look generous, but caring for a sick person requires ongoing effort and time, things they don't want to invest. Dealing with the responsibilities repeatedly over days or weeks can overwhelm them, causing a kind of mental short circuit. So, even though they know what's right, their desire to maintain a positive image often conflicts with the effort required to genuinely care for someone who is unwell. Some people pretend to be good caregivers to impress others and keep up a positive image. However, when it comes to actually taking care of someone who is sick, they avoid it for various reasons. This behavior is similar to what you might have experienced in your relationship with them. They put on a caring facade when others are around, like when there are visitors in a hospital or at home. They may act concerned and helpful in front of an audience, but once they leave, they return to being irritable and neglectful. This situation can be confusing and disheartening because you know they have the skills to be caregivers, and they understand what needs to be done. However, their caregiving is more for show. They might post pictures on social media to portray a caring image, but in reality, it's just a performance. Relying on them for actual caregiving, especially during sickness, doesn't work because their self-centered nature, with traits like entitlement, grandiosity, impatience, manipulation, and victimhood, prevents them from genuinely caring for someone. If you find yourself dependent on a narcissistic person for caregiving, it's not a reliable option, especially in the long term. If you're in a relationship with such a person or come from a narcissistic family, it's advisable to have a backup plan for caregiving in the future, as counting on them won't provide the support you need when it truly matters. Sometimes it's strange how some people who act all self-important expect everyone to be patient with them when they're sick. But they can't be bothered to be patient when others are unwell. Let me break it down for you. Narcissistic folks struggle to be caregivers in everyday situations. They might put on a show of taking care of someone now and then, but it's more like a temporary break for you. The catch is, they'll bring it up forever, saying they helped you, so the long-term hassle might not be worth it. Just keep in mind that this is something to be aware of. When things don't go as expected, it can be really tough. This often happens, and I'll tell you about a special case in a bit. Sometimes, and maybe more than we'd like, people stay in a relationship with someone who's self-centered, especially in a close relationship. They might think they're too old to find someone new. Even if they know the relationship is bad and not good for them, they stick around because they believe having a companion, even a not-so-great one, is better than being alone. The problem is, it's a risky choice. You might think, and others might too, that since you have a partner or kids, people will help you. But here's the catch. If those people are narcissistic, they might not actually be helpful. Others might assume you have enough support already and not offer help. It can get pretty complicated. This is important not only in romantic relationships, but also with family. If you have family members who are self-centered, they might not be there for you when you're sick or dealing with health problems. Instead of offering help, they might downplay your situation, saying it's not that bad or telling you not to be dramatic. It can be really inconvenient and challenging. Seriously, what's happening now? Do we have to cancel our vacation because of this? Oh no, are you telling me you have to go to the hospital? Who's going to take care of the kids? It feels like you're making me the victim all the time, and it's frustrating. I always have to sacrifice things for your sickness. I've faced some serious health issues too, you know. Sometimes they make you doubt yourself, saying things like, maybe it's all in your head. We should get another opinion before I have to rearrange my whole life. But there's a bigger issue here. Why do narcissistic people have such a hard time dealing with sick people? Why are they so averse to illness? I'm not saying anyone likes it, but they seem to really struggle with it. There are a few reasons for this. It's kind of like they can't accept the reality of aging, death, or being unwell. They live in this delusion that their bodies will never age, that they're exceptions to the rules of getting sick or dying. So, when you're sick, it's like a reminder to them that they're not invincible. Sometimes I think about why people who really like themselves a lot tend to prefer partners who are much younger. It seems like their interest in being with younger people might be connected to their strong desire to stay healthy and avoid getting sick or old. When someone narcissistic gets reminded of their vulnerability, like when they hear about someone else being sick, they often feel a mix of shame, resentment, and anger. Sickness makes them think about how easily their own bodies can get sick or frail. So, when they see sick people, it's like a bothersome reminder that they might also get sick or dependent someday. This reminder brings up a lot of negative emotions for them. It's almost like they believe that if they never see someone who is sick, then maybe they won't get sick themselves. You might be wondering what happens when a narcissistic person gets sick. Well, there are different reactions. Some narcissists just deny it completely because being sick doesn't fit with their idea of being invincible. Others become very dramatic, acting like they're the first person ever to get sick, expecting the world to stop for them. Communal narcissists turn their illness into a big crusade, sharing every detail on social media. Some people use being sick as an excuse to do very little for themselves or expect a lot from others. Many folks felt really sad in their relationships with self-centered people. They hoped that getting sick might make the self-centered person care more or help them. But when that didn't happen, it made them even more upset. If many important people in your life are self-centered, it's a good idea to have a backup plan for taking care of yourself in the future. Sorry, but there's no long-term care insurance specifically for narcissism. You have to plan for taking care of yourself when you're sick, because it's tough to figure it out when you're not well. It's important to think ahead, especially as you get older, because relying on a narcissistic person for care might not work out well and could even be risky.